Hi, welcome back to Blade and Brush. I'm Mike, your wet shaver, and I am doing a Monday shave with a product that has been in my collection for quite a while. In fact, actually, maybe since about 2019, it was part of a welcome package, I think, when I first joined one of the shaving forums. And it's an oldie but goodie. And that oldie happens to be Palmolive Shave Cream. Yes, Palmolive does make shave products. Palmolive also owns or owned Colgate, which went into toothpaste and oral hygiene, although Colgate did actually produce shave pucks back in the day. One of these days I'll go ahead and show it to you. I just didn't think to bring it up with me. But yeah, this is Colgate shave cream in a tube, a metal tube, and it's the classic scent. Now, Palmolive, you might know primarily from dish detergent, but it actually has products that go well beyond that. Until recent years, it was also involved in shaving, and so it is an interesting bit of history for those of you who are new to wet shaving and maybe familiar with a little bit of a history. They also used to produce solid soap shave sticks, which unfortunately were discontinued some years ago. And I managed to find a few of those before they got too expensive, so I might go ahead and shave with one of those sometime. But today we're doing the shave cream. But yeah, it's got a nice, pleasant scent. Not exactly sure what it smells like, but it does smell good. A little bit of citrus, I know that. So yesterday was my birthday, turned 51. But my aunt and I went to this Asian festival downtown Cleveland. Happens every year around this weekend. There's a lot of different food trucks serving people attending the festival. And they had a Filipino food truck there, and I could be wrong, but I do believe it had the longest line out of all the other food trucks and tents. And I ended up getting some sisig, although it didn't have the egg on it or the drizzled mayonnaise. But it had like the garlic fried rice, and then there was like this ube cheesecake cookie that I got for dessert, and then they had a can of calamansi juice. Now, if you're not familiar with calamansi, it's a type of citrus fruit. It kind of looks like a very small lime. Tastes a little bit like one too, although I'm not sure if it's quite related to the lime family, but it definitely is a citrus. but that's a popular thing over in the Philippines. Although a lot of Filipino restaurants, because calamansi is not really common here in the United States, they end up using lemon. But basically, you're supposed to squeeze the juice out onto the food to add some a little bit of acidity to it. Yeah, if you've never had sisig, I would highly recommend it. It's really good comfort food. Yeah, I got my Sterling Boar brush today. Yeah, so apparently a certain right-wing extremist and former executive of the United States was just diagnosed with very aggressive prostate cancer, which people are speculating that he probably had for a while because it spread to his bones, and that his inner circle kept it from the public. Now, considering they hid his dementia, or tried to, for all these years, and failed spectacularly, I wouldn't put it past him, but something I don't think people really realize is that COVID is known to accelerate cancer or cause it. So if you didn't have it before, it might lead to cancers, which is now without precedent. There are viruses like HPV that do cause cancer. But if you've already got it, because your immune system is out of whack, it can cause it to grow even faster. And we know Biden has had COVID several times. Because in the rush to pretend away the pandemic, which is still ongoing and getting worse, he just dropped all mitigation. And I wouldn't have even gone to the Asian festival yesterday, but I was masked. So I expect to be the only one in the house who doesn't get sick. Now, some people call that living in fear. I just call it being smart. So all you have to do is just wear a mask. You don't have to give up going anywhere or doing anything, but you just got to take proper precautions. It's like, imagine if you're on a construction site, you have to wear a hard hat, right? In case something heavy falls on your head, you don't want to risk too much brain damage. So why would you go out and risk getting brain damage from a virus known to cause brain damage? It's just common sense. Don't get the virus, you won't get brain damage. Wear a hard hat, you reduce the risk of serious injury if something falls on your head. It's really no different. Not in terms of principle, anyway. So I do go places. In fact, when I went to the Philippines back in November, God, that was over 6 months ago now, a lot of the mall restaurant workers and security guards were wearing their KN95s. And which is good, you know. I mean, you don't want to be going into work sick and getting the customers sick. And we used to be common sense about that, but in all this hysteria over freedoms, we seem to have forgotten that common sense. Sorry, but you do not have freedom to get people sick with a preventable virus. So now measles is back after we had basically eliminated it. If people are dying, you shouldn't. Then you got whooping cough back, tuberculosis, all because people don't want to take precautions. Being a history major, one tends to look at patterns of behavior and so it's kind of easy to make predictions about what might happen based on what has happened or what's likely to happen. Because an honest reading of history will let you know about the consequences of people's decisions. And so you can apply that to today. It's like what happened over 100 years ago that forced people to wear masks, and then they got tired of that and went back to normal too soon, and more people died who otherwise wouldn't have. Well, that would be Spanish flu. Which wasn't actually Spanish, by the way. Interesting thing, how things get labeled, because so-called Spanish flu is thought to have started on a U.S. military hog farm in Kansas, and we took it over to Europe when we entered the First World War. So many people died from the flu that they ran out of bodies to throw into the war effort, and that ended up ending the war earlier than it otherwise would have. And then 20 years later, the Nazis, when they rose to power and started the Holocaust, one of the first groups that they targeted for extermination was people disabled by Spanish flu, because they were considered a burden on the public health system and what passed for their social welfare programs at the time, which Nazi Germany quickly got rid of. But even if you're not a history major, you really should learn history, because you don't want to end up having to make the same mistakes all over again. or get caught up in the stuff that happens when other people repeat history. And you can kind of see stuff coming. Before it happens, because it's been done before. This is the kind of stuff that goes through my brain when I read stuff in the news. Now, having listened to it here, it's not going through your brain. So just stuff to ruminate on. Also, in a news article, I was reading this headline, although I didn't read the article, but people were saying they found evidence of Planet 9. It's like, well, duh, we have Planet 9. It's called Pluto. Yes, I still regard Pluto as a planet. And I'm about to put on my old crank, get off my lawn hat. It's like, just because you don't like the definition of the word planet, you decide to redefine it because a planet in the solar system doesn't fit what you think a planet should be, so you just redefine the word planet so you can exclude it instead of adjusting your own perception to fit reality. That's how you get oxymorons like irregardless forced into the dictionary. Because dictionary publishers just give up on trying to correct people. It's like irregardless cancels out the word regardless. So when you say irregardless, you're really saying regardful, which is just stupid. All you have to do is just correct your own grammar, spelling or grammar error. Instead, you got to force it into the dictionary. It's like how people constantly misspell the word lose by adding an extra O to make it the word loose, which is the opposite of tight. And instead, it should be lose with one O, which is the opposite of winning. So, but no, you did not lose the election. You did not lose the race. You did not unleash it. No, you lost the race because you are a loser with only one O. Yeah, but that's me being a Gen Xer. And borderline boomer, I suppose. But hey, I did not go to college and take English composition courses for nothing. And I just hate to see the language butchered because people don't want to learn how to use it properly. So that's just me. So I'm not at all sorry to tell you that if you don't know how to write properly, I'm not going to bother reading your work. Because if I have to spend more time trying to decipher the gibberish that you're vomiting up onto the computer screen or onto paper, that's less time I have to trying to figure out what it is you're trying to convey. And the older they get, the less patience I have for doing that. You know? Time is short. So are lives. And I do not want to waste what time I have on Earth trying to decipher someone's gibberish. And most people don't want to do that either, so learn how to write and you won't have that problem. Yeah, you can yell at me and call me a grammar Nazi or some kind of bigot or whatever, just for saying, hey, you should follow the rules of spelling and grammar. But that doesn't change the fact that you can't read, write, or spell. And being Gen X, my generation was told, if you don't like it, suck it up, do better. Because no one's going to hold your hand or coddle you. Which is a good life lesson, by the way. Like, nobody should be satisfied with mediocrity. If you're lacking in an area, improve. And if you have a problem that prevents you from improving, that's one thing. But if you don't have that problem, then you don't have any excuse. And yes, I'm talking about people who are dyslexic or have some other learning disability. Obviously, you have to make allowances for that. Or if English is not someone's first language, obviously you have to make allowances for that. I'm talking about the people who are not hindered by that, and therefore have no such excuse. I shouldn't have to explain that, but oh well. And yes, I am rambling. And yes, I'm going on my old man rant. Hey, I just turned 51 yesterday, so I may not be ancient, but I'm no spring chicken either. I know I don't look it, but I am finding more gray hairs these days. And I no longer believe in trying to hide my age. All right. So once again, today's shave was with Palmolive Shave Cream. If you can get a hold of this on some kind of shave site or internet site, or maybe as a piff from a shave forum, I would highly recommend it. It is a great product and part of our shaving history. And if you can get one of the Palmolive shave sticks, or you have that in your collection already, treasure it, use it sparingly, but don't be afraid to use it, because stuff like this, man, it works. So anyway, this is Mike for Blade and Brush, signing off.